What was your thought process there? Making great money, great lifestyle. What was the next couple of thoughts?
One of the biggest changes in my life was actually doing an LSD trip. It just opened something. Living in a materialistic world where my ego wanted to do more festivals, be more successful. The moment I went on this LSD journey, I've experienced like a moment of like, but this is not worth anything.
Kevin Gansemans.
Yeah.
Welcome to Deeply Aligned podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting.
Couple of days out. We're fresh out of 10-day meditation Vipassana.
Yes.
Feel like it's a good time to have these kind of conversations. Not that it's never a great time, but extra great time. It's kind of funny also because, I guess you have somewhat of a sense where we're going, but not really.
Probably Vipassana now.
Yeah, I think we'll get there.
Is this all about?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. No, but I was thinking, let's start with a little bit of context, like a quick recap. I know your story, obviously, but like a little quick recap on your backstory. Like from my context, quickly, it's like you've been traveling the world a lot in filmmaking, production, and to say it in simple language, it's like when you see these awesome promo videos for a music festival, it's likely chance that you're one of the guys behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I used to.
yeah. We're talking Ultra Music Festival at Miami, and
I was working on that as well. It's not my production, but I was working on that a few times. Yeah,
and a couple other well-known festivals.
Yeah. It's a mixture of all different camera guys who have their own little projects. Yeah, and some of them have Ultra, some of them have Tomorrowland, some of them have other big festivals, and it's funny that everyone just hires everyone the whole time, so it's actually the same crew the whole time, but then different locations and different festivals. Yeah. So yeah.
Super cool. No, but I was thinking we could start there. Quick recap on how did you get into the filmmaking and that kind of lifestyle and career?
Well, how did I get in? When I was 16 years old, I just went a lot clubbing back in Belgium, and one day this club was releasing like a video of how the party was. It was brand new. It was never seen before, and it's like, this is awesome. Like, look how epic this night was. And like, I showed all my friends, like, look. So
pretty epic.
Yeah, and I got in contact with the camera guy from that club and became really good friends with him. And next thing you know, he was teaching me how to film, and he says I had talent. And I was like, oh, maybe I should continue this. And then went from club to festival, from festival to touring the world. And that's how I got into it. Yeah.
And you were saying, you've been telling me that at the time you guys were kind of in the forefront and doing something that hadn't really been done before, and it felt like there was no competition for a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the first video that I saw of that club was never been done before. Like it was the first time I've seen something like that. And then it escalated to festivals, and it was also new. It's like, there was not a single school in the world that will teach you how to film a festival, or because it's usually when you go to film school, they teach you how to direct, how to set something in scene that is like already prepared, like this is how we're going to film it, this is how we're going to do it. But when you come to a festival or you're touring the world with an artist, there's so many things happening that are not planned. So you gotta like act quickly and make sure you got the shot.
It's act quickly and even like predicting in a certain sense? Or?
Yeah, kind of. So you start to get to know the music a little bit, from when the beat's gonna drop, when the silent moment gonna happen, when the DJ is taking the mic to say something. Like when you see these little details, then you know, like, okay, something's gonna happen. I gotta be ready to film, or like when the DJ takes the mic and he wants to say something, and he starts by saying, I want everyone to sit down. Right. Then you know, like, okay, there's gonna be a massive crowd sitting down, and it's gonna be a big jump afterwards. Like, I gotta be ready, capturing that moment of everyone jumping up again. So you think, okay, I need a wide angle lens to be able sure to get everyone on the picture.
Yeah.
And then you gotta make a fast decision of where I'm gonna stand, what's the best angle, like what's the most creative angle as well. And
what do you think was one of the reasons why you and your business partner was able to figure this out and not many others?
I think because most of the people come out of film school and they've been learned to do it that way. And they usually have time to prep a shot, and like we never went to film school. It's just like YOLO.
YOLO swag, more out of the box thinking, kind of.
Definitely. Like we're doing things so wrong. If I was telling things of how I shoot something to a professional camera guy, he was like, "Are you crazy?" Like it was not how they learned it in school, or this is not how you do it in Hollywood, or but because of this out of the box thinking, it worked, and now it's a thing.
Awesome. Yeah. I think I would like to get into a little bit of comparison between that lifestyle and the lifestyle you have more now and recently.
Yeah.
If we talk about like deep alignment and so if you were to describe that lifestyle, music festivals and party and maybe alcohol and drugs and girls and all of that kind of stuff. What made you think like this is not for me, like I need to change?
Well, the first 8 to 10 years I never stood still. It was really hectic lifestyle. It was fun, visiting all the countries in the world and all the festivals in the world. Yeah, it was like you're living in a party. Like,
what would be a typical year? How would a typical year look like? Like how much traveling are we talking about?
It depends, but usually it's like every weekend there's a festival anywhere in the world. So basically, every weekend I was filming somewhere. Sometimes it's maybe 2-3 months in Europe. Then it would be 1 month in Australia, then 1 month in South America, or you name it, depending on which festival is taking place.
Right.
But yeah, it was really hectic, and it was much fun. You're living a party, like for multiple years in a row, like constantly partying, and you don't have to pay for the ticket. You get paid. It's like, and you're in the middle of the crowd. You have access to everything. Like, what's not to like about it in the beginning?
Many people are just dreaming about this, right? Like they're dreaming about becoming a DJ or like being in this kind of scene.
Exactly. And during the week, you're constantly editing those videos that you shot during the weekend. So it's like 24/7, constantly working, but fun kind of work. But to continue on that aspect, it was really nice, but I don't see it as healthy anymore, because you go from jet lag to jet lag. You go from long working hours to not a lot of sleep. And working on a festival with a camera of 10 pounds is pretty heavy.
So obviously, intense lifestyle and lack of certain health aspects, sleep. I mean, let's stop for a while there. Did you ever think, was there ever this kind of FOMO of like, I shouldn't take a pause, I shouldn't take a vacation, or I shouldn't take a pause and like take it easy. I should like ride the wave of like there's all this opportunity and we should take advantage of it. Was there any FOMO like that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I was like, I'm on the road here to become one of the best filmmakers of the festival music industry.
Yeah,
like I need to take advantage of this, and like there's no competition at the moment. Let's go. It's like so many opportunities, and also the fact that you are able to travel everywhere in the world. You don't have to pay a dime. That was all new for me. I was like, wow, I can travel the whole world here and getting paid. And like at a certain point, I had to say no to clients because It was just too much on my plate.
Yeah.
And I had this luxury of saying no, but saying no was really hard because I wanted to do everything.
Yeah. The
So-
power was in you guys' hands, so to speak. But
Yeah, exactly.
how long did it take you until you learned that, hey, we can value ourselves really high here and do say no to certain gigs or do raise the prices or, yeah.
It took me a long time. Like the first few weekends I took off, it was usually just one weekend, and then the next weekend I was gone again.
Mm.
But during that one weekend, I was just like recovering. I was just sleeping, not doing much. And I felt the FOMO again because I know there was another party going on, and it's like, I kind of want to be there. Yeah. So not realizing that my body actually needed rest. So it was constantly in the mind and not necessarily like aligned with the body.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Did there ever come a point where you did, like, as the saying goes, like hit a wall and burn out?
Yeah, it definitely did. I think, but it took me a long time. Maybe like after 7-8 years or something. That's when the real struggle started to happen. That I felt like most of the festivals that I've done around the world, I did it again and again and again, like for 6-7 years in a row. And then after a while, it's like, okay, well, it's the same festival, same location, mostly the same artist. They also do the same thing. They travel the world, but usually go to the same festivals again. It's just the people that are different, and sometimes the people aren't different. It's the same people from last year as well. And once you've done that festival multiple years, your creative aspect of shooting that festival is diminishing a lot, because you've been walking there 6 years in a row, trying to figure out every beautiful creative shot that you can take from every angle. How I'm gonna take this shot of this stage, of this artist, of this DJ booth, of any commercial brand standing there, or of the tree that is standing there, whatever. Well, next year the tree is still there, you know.
Yeah.
So the creative aspect is diminishing, and because of that, it feels more repetitive.
Yeah.
Repetitive. And when things become repetitive, it feels more and more like work. And I was seeing it more and more like work after a few years. I was like, okay, well, I'm standing here again, shooting the same festival. Yeah, it's nice. Let's make it something new again. But creativity was gone. It felt more like work. It felt like I was counting the hours until it was done again.
Went from creativity to like efficiency. How can I get this done?
Yeah,
quickly?
exactly.
Like,
Yeah, and the efficiency was like, oh, well, last year I did this shot. This worked really well. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
It's just a different stage, but it's the same angle.
Yeah.
And that's when it started like going downwards, in my view. Like the creativity went gone. It felt more and more like work. And because I was more and more working, my body and mind was also getting more and more exhausted.
Right.
And that's when other things come into play. Like, okay, maybe I need to drink a coffee, or let's have a drink, or any other drugs substance that was available at that time. It's just, you're living an artist kind of life. Like anything comes on your path. And sometimes you just, like having a drink, for example, or having a coffee just to keep going is helpful.
Totally.
And that's when things go downwards, and where I suddenly like hit a wall, like, whoa, I need to calm down here. Yeah.
How was that experience hitting the wall? Was it like drastic, or it's more slowly, like you said, like incremental?
More slowly. Funny enough, I realized that like bit by bit that, okay, so next time I travel somewhere, I'm gonna make sure that instead of staying there for 1 or 2 days just for the festival and then take a plane back, I'll stay there for a week. So I get the chance to actually visit the country or visit the city that I'm in, and more absorbing where I am. Because the first 5 years was like city to city to other city, and after a month, I didn't even remember which city I visited.
Yeah, it was more like festival to festival, not city to city, and actually seeing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I resonate with that too.
Yeah.
What would you say was like the pivotal moment of, all right, I want to yeah, I want to pivot, I want to change to something else? Like, what made you go into those thoughts? Do you remember a certain situation?
I think I got in contact with like with some friends who were going to a gym. They were in the same office as my office was, and yeah, became really good friends with them and started going to the gym with them. I wasn't fit at all, and the feeling of working out, like, it changed something in me. Like, it's like, oh, I feel good. I feel good now. I'm like, oh, I can use this strength and condition for my work to actually perform better. And this is a process that took many years. But this is the moment I realized, like, oh, I like this lifestyle of being healthy. And
Feels good. And at the time, that was more regular weightlifting and running? 'Cause
yeah, exactly.
these days, it's
like
obviously a lot of calisthenics.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was just following everything. But just the fact of working out and being sore the next day, that felt good to me. And sleep improved and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, like, obviously, there's many people who might be in the mindset of like, okay, I'm doing this right now, whatever it is, X, Y, Z, as a career, and then they feel like something's a little bit off, and maybe I want to try something else. Like, what was your thought process there? Where, okay, I'm doing this and making great money, great lifestyle, but creativity is going down a little bit.
Yeah.
Health not ideal. I'm meeting these friends who's showing me how to work out and stuff, and that feels great.
Yeah.
What was the next couple of thoughts of like, well, am I gonna try something else or?
Well, actually, the one of the biggest changes in my life that at that moment happened was actually doing an LSD trip.
There we go.
Yeah.
Here's the beginning of the.
yeah. It was. It's kind of life changing. Not the first trip or the second trip, just overall.
Yeah.
It just opened something, like living in a materialistic world where my ego wanted to do more festivals, be more successful, have a big villa, for example, have a beautiful car. Not that I had any. I was traveling too much, but just always like the last iPhone, the last MacBook, stuff like that.
The latest thing.
And then the moment I went on this LSD journey, I've experienced like a moment of like, but this is not worth anything. And it's not that in one trip everything changed, but it clicked something in me.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started, like the realization of many things.
Yeah.
And
the beginning of a more conscious,
yeah,
becoming a more conscious being, I suppose.
Yeah, because of that, I started having interest in meditation. And because of meditation, started having interest in breathwork, and like there's this roller coaster domino effect of
domino
everything
effect
that
of
it's
opening up many doors.
Yeah.
I mean, for the context for our audience, like, I don't know if you want to say how experienced you are in this LSD trips and psychedelics. I think from my side, I would just say you're very experienced, in my opinion, as far as all the people I've met.
Well, I not gonna say any numbers, but pretty. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much experienced. Not that I want to boost my ego on that subject, because every time I do, I still feel unexperienced. It's just I've done it many times in any circumstances, tried different things, but I still feel like I'm learning every day, every time if I'm doing it. It's like I realized every time you think you can control it or you think you know it, you get a slap in the face. It's like, nope, you don't.
No, I would totally back that, and I think that's really good evidence of. I always think like true master, like not that you're a master in it, but like true masters understand that they are still the biggest student.
Yeah.
And you say like the more you have tried it, the more you realize the less you know, basically.
Yeah.
And that's really true for a lot of areas, whether it's psychedelics or anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, super cool. Wow. Yeah. So one of the beginnings was LSD there, opening up many doors, meditation, breathwork. what was the next step, so to speak? So, like you said, it opened up doors, and you tried new, more healthier stuff. One could say, if
Mm-hmm.
because one thing the audience wouldn't know is today you're a crypto trader, for example.
Mm-hmm.
What's the gap in between there?
Well, it's pretty, like always been a nerd. Like I love being behind the computer and doing stuff. Like I also studied ICT engineering for a year.
Mm.
But then when filmmaking came on my path, I was like, what should I do in life? Should I be a ICT nerd? You know, like be behind the computer the whole time? Like it pay well,
Yeah.
but like my whole life is gonna be behind the computer. Do I want that? Nah, not so much.
Mm.
And then I got filmmaking on the other hand, which was still beginning, had no scholarship for it, nothing. Didn't know if I was gonna make money with it or not.
Mm.
But I knew that this will like give me two kinds of jobs. It will the filmmaking where I'm like walking around, traveling around, and then the editing, which is actually behind the computer. So I get to do the fun nerd stuff and also be on the field.
Right.
So that's why I chose that.
Oh, that makes sense.
And and because I was always the nerd, I remember in 2013 I was looking at the series called Mr. Robot.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about that one. Right?
It's like this hacker
Yeah.
in New York City, I think. And he talks about Bitcoin suddenly.
Oh, really?
A way of paying hacker to hacker through Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Like, this is interesting. It was nerdy stuff. It was perfect for me. And I was like, I want to buy that. So I went online and tried to find how to buy it, but it was too complicated at the time. There was no exchanges, nothing.
Yeah.
And because I was so busy traveling, I just like skipped it. Like,
Mm.
okay, no, not for me, not right now.
Yeah.
And then during my filming career, I've seen the news suddenly popping out, Bitcoin all-time high, 2017.
Mm.
I was like, fuck.
What if I had bought back there?
Yeah, I should have bought. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. And then 2018, 2019, and 2020, I was really at the peak of, like 2019 was the peak of my filmmaking career. I was like, okay, you know what? I got a whole film company. Now I got multiple people working in that company.
Mm.
Like, if I just finish this year, then the company will run by itself, and I can step out.
Right.
But then, with these plans in mind, I was like, okay, last year, 2020, and COVID happens.
Yeah. Bam. COVID.
Bam. And I come from a world where I had to say no to clients, where it was too much work. I never thought that the flow of money that was coming in would ever stop, because everyone wanted to work with us, and this happens, and 80 to 90% of the business was music festivals, and no music festivals for a whole year, maybe 2 years. I was like, damn. Luckily, the government in the Netherlands was supportive, so I didn't have to like struggle with money or anything, but I had time to reflect and do something else. And I quickly realized that reflecting is really hard for me at that moment. Like, I cannot sit still and do nothing. So
a decade of training of not sitting still, right?
So I was like,
temptation there, impulse there.
exactly. Yeah, I was in a world where it's constantly happening something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now maybe it's time to go into crypto. No excuses, nothing else to do. Now you're sitting at home. Why not?
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Then you go like, let me buy a course, or let me figure this out by myself with YouTube, or.
So first I started investing, following the advice of a guy on YouTube, which was successful. But then I thought I was able to trade with this, and made shit ton of money, but lost it all.
It's always funny how that goes. Like, it's almost a curse if it goes too well in the beginning, because then one gets confidence and feels like, oh, this is always going to be the thing,
exactly.
until you make the big fuck up and then
Yeah,
you're back
yeah.
to zero, or
Yeah,
even worse, in big time debt.
Yeah, you think that after this big fuck up, this won't happen again,
Yeah.
but it happened again. Just like helped multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, until I learned that hey, risk management is key,
Yeah.
and that you can't control the market.
Mm.
You just can't.
Right. Right. So yeah, you're saying 2021-ish or later you started getting serious.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
So now it's basically been more than 4 years of crypto trading.
Yeah.
And lots of learnings along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of learning, lots of struggling, lots of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stress.
But I guess when COVID ended ish, then you were thinking, hey, I think this crypto trading stuff is a way better option than going back to music festivals.
I knew that it is possible to be successful in trading at that point, but I wasn't successful yet.
Yeah.
So when the festivals came back, I was like, let's just stick to festivals for now. And in my free time, I'll continue doing that,
Right.
the crypto, which I did. And the more and more confidence I got into crypto, the more and more confidence I was also ready to release that old life of filmmaking.
Right.
Yeah, because I didn't feel like it was aligned anymore with who I am as a person to keep filming. This is not what I wanted to do. Crypto trading was actually more for the financial aspect, just to be sure that, hey, money coming in and you can still live, you can still pay for food and stuff like that. It was not necessarily to keep going and traveling again, because I've traveled so much. I was actually really enjoying being at home for a longer period of time and being able to work out and being able to also study on meditation or yoga or breathwork, things that make me feel good in my body. Because the crypto trading was really stressful, so I needed something to balance things out. So I did it for the financial aspect, and the more and more confidence I got into trading, the more and more I could release the old lifestyle and also focus on a different lifestyle that I was really enjoying as well, which was working out, but also breathwork.
Yeah.
I was really deep into breathwork, into ice bath, like the health. Like I tried the vegan lifestyle. I tried any lifestyle possible just to see what it does to my body. It was all new. I just want to see what the best fit is. How can I feel the most insane every day for the rest of my life?
Now you kind of made Kevin and Kevin's health the main project.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, I think, is an awesome place to be in, where we all can focus more on our own habits and improve our lives with the health aspect, because health is the most important thing in the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think I know myself even the full story of like when. So you were home for a while and you enjoyed that. When did you start traveling again? Was that with Costa Rica and then Bali and stuff, or?
Well, we were in lockdown in the Netherlands for 1 year, I think.
Right.
And it became to a point where in Netherlands you were not allowed to go to a gym anymore. So I first started by not going to the restaurant anymore. I was like, okay, well, saves me money, you know.
That's okay.
It's okay, whatever.
Take that with the gym, then.
But then when they took over the gym, I was like, wait, I cannot go to the gym anymore. It was freezing winter. Like, okay, you can go to the gym outside, but like in the winter, nah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Not really tough. I was like, you know, I'm going. And it was funny enough. I went to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I went to Mexico. And there in Mexico, everything was allowed. Like there was no COVID to be seen. Well, there were cases, but like there was no rules, and everyone was happy there.
Exactly. Costa Rica was it was the first country that I started traveling to also after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I just started traveling again, but mostly traveling in a different way. Like now it's like staying a month or two there, staying another month or two there, instead of just a weekend.
Yeah.
So I was actually enjoying, like seeing the country, knowing the country and knowing the culture.
And then Costa Rica, Mexico, and then it was Bali.
So I went actually in Bali just before COVID, just for 2 weeks. We rented a villa, me and my friend, and we said to ourselves like, "Hey, let's not do anything.
Let's just be."
Let's just be." And we just worked out at the villa like 2 weeks in a row. Ordered food, and just chilled. And it was amazing.
Nice.
And then people, when I came back, was like, "Oh, so how was Bali?" I was like, "I haven't seen anything. I just saw the inside of the villa. It was amazing." I started dating a woman, and she lived in Bali for 6 months before COVID, and she was telling me all these beautiful stories about Bali, and started to open my eyes again. Like, okay, I need to go back to Bali.
Right.
Yeah, but that didn't happen then after 2 years or 3 years after COVID, because they were pretty strict of letting people in Bali.
Yeah.
So, and then whenever the doors were open, I was back.
Yeah, exactly. I was restricted there for a while. Stopped me from going also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now, what is the new, any new insights or clarity after this 10-day meditation, Vipassana? And obviously we can get into that for a while also, of, how you would recommend that or what you gain from it, and so people get an understanding what it is, kind of thing, and the benefits.
Yeah, so I was really scared of going to Vipassana. Like, I heard people around me doing it, and they were like, "Yeah, you really gotta do it. It's life-changing." It's like, but what is it? So yeah, you're sitting down 10 hours a day, meditating, with breaks in between, of course. But yeah, 10 hours a day for 10 days straight.
Yeah,
no talking, no eye contact, no writing, no reading, no speaking. I was like,
yes, you and your good old thoughts.
exactly. And that's what scared me. I was like, me and my thoughts, because I'm used to doing things. And now 10 days doing nothing, that's hard. That's really hard. Like, I can barely sit down to meditate 20 minutes. And even then I'm doing something. I'm focused on my breath or something else. But I expect it to be like more of a visual trip when I arrive there. Like, okay, I'm gonna go into the spiritual realm of something, meditate, but basically you live like a monk like a nun for 10 days. And the first 3 days is actually you learn a technique called Annapura. It's where you focus on the breath, but as the breath is. So you're not trying to control the breath. If the breath comes in into your left nostril or your right nostril or both.
Getting really conscious now.
Exactly. You just observe. Yeah. You just observe how it is. If the breath is shallow, or if it's intense, just observing it as it is. And you focus on that for the first 3 days, and you realize that actually the first 3 days when you focus on that, after a few seconds, you go back to an old memory, or back to, oh, I need to do this in the future, or like, it's really hard to keep focus on the breath. Yeah. Like, after five or six breaths, you're just like, you're gone again. Yeah. Until you realize, hey, I'm actually meditating, going back to the breath. And that's what you do the first 3 days, because you're so in the mind from the outside world, from society, that you're actually training in your brain, in your mind, to focus again. Yeah. And you focus on the breath first, and then the more and more you go sharper and sharper in the mind, like you start with an area of a triangle of this nose, where you focus on this triangle and nothing else. And from day to day, you go more and more to just under the nostrils, and you're just observing the feeling here, the sensations. So you're actually creating the mind to be sharper, more focused. And the more you train on that, the less thoughts you have, the less you get out of your meditation. And once you reach day 4, your mind is calm, steady and aware of everything. And that's where you learn the Vipassana technique. And the Vipassana technique is a technique that is coming from the Buddha, and which actually is created to purify the mind at the deepest level.
Okay.
So many of other meditation techniques, or like visualization or respiration, where you control the breath or you count the breath, is actually to calm down the mind from day-to-day life. But that's on a superficial level. Like with Vipassana, you purify the mind at the deepest level. So with Vipassana, you start to actually scan the body, your full body, on sensations. Like you just observe any sensation that is coming into your body in a controlled manner.
It can be anything from the five senses, you mean, or as in like
in the body.
What you're feeling?
Yeah, what you're feeling in the body.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're not looking, so you're not visualizing. It's not about the smell. It's not about what you hear. It's purely what you feel in the body. So maybe a tinkling sensation, or maybe a pressure point, or a muscle cramp, or maybe a pain, or maybe a good feeling. Anything you feel, you suddenly you start going to that place in your body and try to observe it. Observe it as it is, not trying to make it go away if it's pain, for example, or make it last if it's a good feeling.
Not trying to change.
Not trying to change, yeah. And what they teach you is actually, if you look at every sensation, equanimous. So equanimous means a balanced mind. Like it means that you look at something and not wanting it to continue if it's a pleasant sensation, and not wanting it to stop if it's an unpleasant sensation. So just observing and accepting as the reality is at that moment.
Yeah.
And they say that by doing this, by observing every sensation, you actually you purify old habit patterns that is deeply in your subconscious. They say that your subconscious is your unconscious is unconscious, right? But it's actually conscious. It's just your body who's actually absorbing sensations, but your mind is not aware of it. And what you learn as well is that, so you have 5 or 6 senses. I'm not sure. You have smell, eye, ear, body sensations, your tongue. And every time something of these senses absorbed anything, your body reacts into a sensation. Like, for example, I go into a cold shower, my body starts getting cold water drops on my skin. It's cold. Yeah. The sensation tells my mind, hey, it's cold. My mind can react to that and say, I don't want it. Yeah. And then you create an aversion to it. And that means that in the future, whenever you have an aversion and you don't want it, but you still get it, you create misery. Because it's something that you want that you still get. Okay? And what they learn you in this Vipassana technique is that whenever you feel something, it's actually the bridge between feeling and your mind creating a craving or an aversion for it, is to actually not create that craving and not create that aversion for it, but just look at that sensation, equanimous. And by doing that, for all aspects of life, you start generating less and less cravings and aversions to specific things in life, which will lead you into a life with less misery. Yeah. And because you have less misery, you're more happy. And the more and more you practice this Vipassana technique, the more and more you can get back to the root of old habit patterns, of cravings and aversions that you had from when you were a child or from your past lives. And they come up back to the surface in a sensation, any form of sensation. It can be like an immense pain, or it can be a blind spot where you don't feel anything anymore. Right. And the moment that comes up, after lots of practice of that Vipassana, like you have to realize again, okay, just observe it.
Mm-hmm.
Just observe it, not wanting it to go away and not wanting to stay, and just observe it. And that's how old habit patterns, reactions actually, like vanish.
Yeah.
So, and because you go into the root level of the mind, of these reactions, you start to heal yourself about all these aspects. And that's the technique of Vipassana. So it takes a lot of practice. The 10-day Vipassana is just like an introduction course. It's 10 days because they want you to experience it like it should be. Because we come from a society where there's so many things to do. Like you need those 4 days to calm down first.
Yeah.
And then you only have 4 or 5 days to practice it.
Like when we think about it, like, 10 days compared to 20, 30 years living in a different way. Like it's 10 days, obviously, it's such a short time span compared to
Yeah.
the rest of your life you've been living. And take your 8 years in the music festival kind of environment, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of your habits or cravings that's gone away. One of them is you don't drink coffee anymore.
Yeah.
You used to love.
Yeah, maybe many other cravings and aversion as well, but I just don't realize them yet. Because the moment they surface, you don't get a sense of what it is or what it could be. Like you just don't know. You just know that by practicing it, more and more will come to the surface, and you will purify the mind more and more.
Yeah, and
that's the goal to liberation, apparently, to the full enlightenment.
And like you say, it relates to all areas. It can be a coffee, it can be an ice bath, it can be a trigger or trauma in yourself or in a relationship. Or
yeah.
All that. No, super cool. I need to do that as well at some point, for sure. Right, awesome. What's next?
Next, so the next big step for me is actually continuing the practice.
Yeah.
So having that discipline of actually doing it every day. They advise you to do it 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, which looks like a big challenge because 2 hours a day is a lot, right?
Yeah.
But if you see that the different way is that by doing these 2 hours a day, you actually need less sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually gain 1 hour of sleep because of that. That's what they tell you. I haven't tested it out yet. During the 10 days, it was like I needed less sleep for sure, but there was no any physical movement involved. So still got to practice on that. How does that feel?
Yeah.
But what I do feel like from during the 10-day Vipassana already is like the amount of focus that I have during the day is it's going through the roof compared to when I was drinking coffee, where I was focused for a certain period of time. Yeah. But my focus was not attention to one thing. It was focused there, and then I got distracted to focusing there, and I was still focused, but my distractions were all over the place.
Yeah. Multitasking, basically, just
exactly.
keeps on going back and forth, splitting the focus.
Yeah, and now I have this immense focus throughout the day, with less distractions. Yeah,
less of those aversions and stimulations and temptations, distractions.
Yeah. So, and it feels also like whenever I was drinking coffee, I feel like I was doing a lot of things during the day, and I was having a lot of fun. I was working well. I was doing everything I wanted to do, but the day like went through really quickly. Like next thing you know, it's already evening, time to go to bed. I was like, whoa, this day went really fast, But now when I meditate 1 hour in the morning and in the evening, I feel like the day is going much slower. Maybe because I'm more present during the day and not thinking too much in the future, not thinking too much in the past. And because I'm more present, I feel like I enjoy more of the day, and like time slows down suddenly. And I actually have more time from my experience. Like it's only been 3 days, but this is what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty
interesting.
Awesome. Yeah. Very interesting. So so far you've done 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening meditation.
Yeah.
And you plan on keep on doing it?
Well, I've been struggling. Like it's not consistently 1 hour. Sometimes like 45 minutes, and sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 50.
Yeah.
But I'm trying.
Yeah.
I think trying is the most important. But
I think that should be considered a win. Of like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, out of all the habits in my life that I've been trying to establish, meditation is the one that I've been failing at, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the others, I've done a pretty good job, but meditation, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Coming back and forth at different phases.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most valuable ones.
Yeah. But I've done many meditations before the Vipassana.
No.
And it was always like, okay, yeah, it helps me, but I didn't understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm calming down the mind, and then I realized that, yeah, but breathwork also calms down the mind. Working out also calms down. Like why meditation?
Yeah.
Like yoga is also nice. So there was not a specific reason why I needed to meditate, when there was other things that I could do that also helped me in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But now that I understand Vipassana and I understand where I'm going with this and what it actually does to the mind at the deepest level, there's also like a drive of motivation behind me to actually do that, to start the healing process and to start liberating myself from more and more of these impurities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. So yeah, now you're going back to Germany. I hope briefly.
I'm going to Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm always in Germany.
You always say Germany. Yeah. You think I'm
it's like
living in
people
Germany?
saying Switzerland to Sweden. I'm like, what the hell do you ever learn? Like, yeah, back to Netherlands, and you have some music festival gigs left this year.
Yeah, just one big client that I still do from time to time.
Yeah.
It's in August, but I'm planning of actually visiting family again. Maybe going to Italy, hiking,
Yeah.
just traveling Europe a bit, and yeah, also maybe go to Ibiza, stuff like. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's enjoy summer.
Plans are open. Summer is open. Yeah. Other than that, like, if we come back a little bit to alignment for your future. Do you know yet where do you see yourself going when it comes to, like, I guess, career, or like keep on with crypto trading or anything else? Are you gonna be still working with music festival clients next year? Or?
Probably not, for both aspects.
No.
Just because during the Vipassana I realized how much I love other human beings, like in any way.
Yeah.
And it's like I want to do something in the future where I'm helping people, because that's like the most purest form of gratefulness, in my opinion. When you wake up and you know why you wake up.
Yeah.
If now I wake up just to make money during trading, and it's not a fulfillment that is like in the long term like sustainable, just on an emotional level. But if I wake up, that's also why I started doing a breathwork course. Like I'm a breathwork facilitator now as well. It's like I don't do it often, but when I do it, I feel a lot of gratefulness of actually helping people. You don't know if it helped a lot for these people that you gave the breathwork session to, but it might trigger something, just like it triggered an LSD trip in me.
Yeah.
So, and just knowing that hey, I'm here to help other people as well.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a little bit, it makes me want to wake up in the morning.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are underrated, right? Like breathwork or meditation. It's hard to know what the value is, but when you really think about it, it's usually priceless. And yeah, the value can be unlimited, basically. Anything health related. But I mean, we talked a little bit about, obviously, like, money is important with crypto and stuff like that. And that's, if one is good at trading crypto, one can be quite successful in that area. But like, it's still just a tool, right? With the money. And you talked a bit about, which is inspiring to me, which is related to the helping people, or like people in general. like starting some kind of community.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have any plans with that? I mean, obviously, like it's very hard to know the specifics of that, but that it could be a potential for the future. Some kind of community-based thing that you want to start that is related to any of your interests, if breathwork or anything else, right?
The community aspect of living together with multiple people on a piece of land has always been there in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Just because I think as humans beings we're made to live together. We're not made to live in a box somewhere or in an apartment or this villa or that villa.
Yeah.
It's just, it's beautiful, nice, but it's materialistic. And at the end of the day, you go out of your home to connect with other people.
Yeah.
So, like, and if you look at worldwide communities, like the people that live the longest are usually the people that live in the community or that are surrounded by people or big families. Like the people living inside of their apartment the whole time, they usually die earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't feel good being alone the whole time. Like nobody likes to be alone. Even if they tell you they like to be alone, it's only for a short period of time and then they would like to connect again.
Yes.
So it's always back in my mind to actually maybe join a community or maybe create one. And that's the other question is like, okay, but if I do that, where in the world do I want to do this? Because then many other things get involved. Like, hey, with what kind of people do I want to be surrounded with? I want to be surrounded with like-minded people, or like English speaking, and different language, cold country, warm country, is it air quality good? And it's like, you start thinking about all these things, and so that's the next question: is actually where, and who, and how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, ending with a tough question here. If you think about all of these things, I mean, I think research says also happiness and living longer is very heavily connected to being social, and friendships and family and loved ones. But the tough question of like, what does being deeply aligned mean to you? If you were to try to describe or summarize that.
Deeply aligned is knowing at the deepest level who you really are, what you want in life, where you're going to, and what your purpose is. And sticking to those values in life. Not letting anyone distract you or misguide you into doing something else which you're not aligned to.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good answer. I like that. Anything else you want to touch upon, Kevin?
Just thinking. Not necessarily at the back of my mind. I feel like this was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
And
I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
I really appreciate for you to invite me in here. And that's it. A big thank you.
Thanks for sitting down with me, man. And I mean, said this outside of the camera. I really hope that you come back to Bali, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be here for a couple of years at least. So it would be good to have you here.
I'll be back. This is definitely like a second base, for sure. Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you, man.
It's on camera now, so yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna get back to you.
Hey, you said that you were coming.
You said, yeah. I think Melanie said this to you also, right? Like, you said you were gonna come back, and so
I
you
did.
did. Yeah, keeping to your word.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.